So I whipped this up just earlier this week because we were kind of pre onboarding with someone, and we've done this in the past. And I was like, oh, I should just make this available. So essentially, and this is why I wanted Monty Clark on here, because he has in his title like fractional CMO, and I was thinking, oh, you probably would want to use this and maybe charge someone for discovery time. So basically, anybody that is working with a like the point person for sales, or their job is to build the sales team in the first place, you're always going to get to the point where you say, how are we going to split up the sales territory, right? And it goes one of a couple ways how you want to split it up. I mean, if it's a free for all, it just becomes messy, especially if you're doing LinkedIn. One person's doing one search, another sales associate's doing another search. And if there's no segmentation or like breaking up into territories, you're going to talk to the same people. Your company's going to look like fools. So usually breaking your target audience down into sales territories comes down to either it's geography based, or it's industry based, or you first assign accounts and then search within your dedicated accounts, right? Those are the kind of three that we've seen. Am I missing any? Region, industry, or assigned accounts? About it.
That's pretty much it. Mutually exclusive, right? That's the key, right? Mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Is there any exception? Would you have an exception or anything like that, like specific to like region, if it's regulatory, if it's
maybe it just depends on what you're selling, I suppose. Yeah,
I don't know.
Depends what you're selling, but the point is, you want, if you're for the first time creating your sales territories, you need to make it as fair as possible, right? And so you might go, you know what, we're only selling in the US. We have 3 or 4 or 5 salespeople kind of scattered throughout. Who gets what? And if you're using LinkedIn as a channel, you want to make sure that, you know, like in this example, there are a ton of people for this title in California compared to, like, there's more people in California than like everywhere else. So you could probably just give one person the state of California and give the other person like everything else in here, right? But you'd want to know that beforehand, because if you just say we're going to go, you know, West, Midwest, North, South, whatever, it might not be fair. And then you're going to have a salesperson not be successful because you gave them a smaller territory. What's up, Mike?
I want to talk about California specifically. I'll share what I do, because California is too big. We break up California by San Diego, LA, Orange County, San Francisco, Sacramento. And then I circle slash all of those and find everything else, sort of. So I find the ones that we missed. But I even break up LA and Orange County separately, because you can do LA County and Orange County, and they're both huge. San Francisco is one area. Sacramento is a little smaller, but it's still an island out there. San Diego is you know, an island or its own area as well. But then I put in all those ones there, and I go circle slash, and see everyone else that's in California. And that's how I handle California. In Texas, it's Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin. That's
yeah. So,
pretty much.
But I think that what you're describing is different than creating a sales territory, because sales territory is something that needs to be there regardless of employees are going to come and go, and an employee is probably going to be selling in the big cities of the state. They don't want rural, right?
But if you're going to California often gets broken up into pieces. I was describing how to break California up into pieces. Someone having the whole state of California is like wow, man, it's a jackpot.
So I've been on the sales end for over 20 years. So California should be really 3 states in one. You have Northern California, Southern California, and then you have everything else in the middle. And to Mike's point, you know, you can have, even though you're saying 4,000 count in California, compared to everything else, that's even true based on popular vote or any other kind of metric that you want to use, depending on the industry that you're in. So quantity and quality that's an anomaly. California and Texas are the 2 largest states. So you really can't compare that to the rest of the each state. So maybe for California, you're going to have maybe, I don't know, 2 reps in the South, 2 reps in Northern California, 2 in the middle. You have 6 for divided by, 40,000. So you have, who knows, 500 for each rep, which could equal some other state.
Yeah,
Texas,
totally.
Texas works well with that approach as well. Texas has big ass cities that are separated far enough away. I don't use the zip code and circle thing. I use actual count city names and stuff so that I can exclude them later. If I use the distance, sort of thing, you can't do the exclusionary stuff. So yeah, we handle Texas and California just like Lynn described. And being able to find the stragglers, the ones that are not part of the major metropolitan areas, is that circle slash technique I mentioned. And it was wonderful. I mean, there's a whole lot of people that are not associated with any of the 4 major cities or locations there. Napa.
Yeah. So where it gets a little hairy there, totally agree. And just practically, if you are doing that, and you watch this later. So if you split California up into 3 pieces and you're using the city, region, area, and the geo, whether you include or exclude it, it's like, what do you do with all of the people not living in those cities? Because you can include or exclude the city, but what about everybody that is in the burbs, like an hour away, that isn't going to be included in that? And so it's almost like you've got cities would be a section, and then rural is a section. So it's not as clean, but you could do that.
Here's an example. I grew up in New York City and pounded the pavement in Manhattan. So you could have Manhattan Island alone, even though you have 5 boroughs in New York City. So Manhattan Island alone, you break it down by zip code because everything in Manhattan becomes vertical. And even in some buildings, believe it or not, they have different zip codes in each building, which is like nuts.
Crazy.
So it's not like, you have maybe, X number of zip codes in Delaware, Rhode Island, smaller states, but Manhattan Island alone is a complete anomaly as well. So you can have, I don't know, going back way back when, you could have like 10 reps just in Manhattan alone trying to figure that out.
I think what we all really want is exact zip codes, not plus 5 miles, plus 10 miles. Exact. One of my clients, they do pure boards, and when you buy a franchise for $65,000, you get a series of 30 or 40 zip codes: Northwest Minneapolis, Southwest Minneapolis, downtown, that sort of thing. But the zip codes that they buy are where the company is located. When we're searching on where their house is. Usually it's the home zip code, not where their business is. So there's a big disconnect, and not being able to go to exact, and go to 1 mile now, that's brand new. But you can't, but you're going to touch all the zip codes around you by very definition, even in the same building, I guess, in New York.
Yeah.
So the 1 mile makes it dirty. Just not having 0. That needs to be 0.
The more sales associates you have, the more you have to split this up. If your sales team is just 5 people, you probably could just do states, right? If you just have 3, like if your sales team was 3 people and you need to make it fair, then you wouldn't have to worry about that. But yeah, for sure.
Well, it's just
states is really clean.
It depends if you're a Microsoft kind of a corporation or an SMB company that's got 250 employees, then it's 2 different kind of conversations, because Microsoft can well afford to not only granularize by state, by city, by zip code, but also within those cities, states, and zip codes, various industries, meaning you could have a Microsoft Azure guy or gal in 5 zip codes in Manhattan, and that person can bring in a boatload of money, as opposed to maybe somebody in the Southeast that might have 2 or 3 states for the same Microsoft Azure financial market or whatever. So there's tremendous amount of granularity that I've seen working for smaller companies and really Fortune 500 type,
So
just like you're showing here, company headcount and relationship, company, zip code. I mean, it goes on and on and on forever.
yeah. So if you're for the first time creating your sales territories, or you're wanting to just kind of reevaluate, if you're using this platform to try and figure out how big your target audience is, right? I don't think that using industry here is a good idea, just because of the inaccuracies that tend to happen on the person's profile with industry. I would say you're going to be using probably title, maybe seniority level, and company headcount, right? And it's going to probably be geo. You could either go by region, and that could be country, state, zip code, or sorry, country, state, city, could be zip code.
Could be
If you're gonna be- if you're gonna
county
be-
as county as well, Isaac. The
County
counties
as
are in
well,
there.
yep.
That's a
Yep.
hop.
Yeah, for sure. So you'll have to put some, just the more granular you're going to get, the more work you're going to have to put into finding it, right? So if we did,
So you could put in county.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can put in
Oh,
counties.
okay.
And if you know how to correlate zip codes to counties, I think they do correlate. That might, provide even more value.
Len, what's your county?
They don't line up. They don't line up.
They don't line up.
You don't?
No. Zip codes can cross counties.
Darn. I was
Orange-
hoping.
So Orange County, California. So you could do this. The point that I'm making with this screen is you could use LinkedIn to gauge your audience size, and then from here plug it into whatever you're using, whether this is just Google Sheets because it's easy to work with, Data Studio, whatever you want to work with. And then you can break it down however makes sense for you: country, state, county, zip code, whatever you need. And then this is just a quick chart that you can do pulled off of these as well. So
How did you?
I just
I'm sorry, I'm not as good as you. How did you get to that Excel spreadsheet and the map again?
so what I did is what I did in this example is I just found our target audience,
Right.
and then I broke it down by state,
Okay.
and then plugged in the totals by state. And then with the chart, I just need to move this over here 1 second. You're just going to go, actually, I'll start over here. You go to insert.
That is so cool. That's in Google Sheets, huh?
Yeah, it's baked right in. And like I said, Google Sheets is easy to use. You could use Data Studio. You could use whatever you want. This is just really easy. So just insert chart, and then you just associate the data range.
Huh.
Yep, and then you can customize the color and stuff. So really, this does all the work for you. All that you need to do, if you're the one creating sales territories, is find your target audience and figure out how granular you want to get with the segmentation. And again, probably if you're using LinkedIn, it's going to be geo.
Hey, Isaac, I noticed right here, you have Chief Financial Officer down there. Everything on the right says it spelled out. So if they're a CFO,
yeah, I just did it because it's faster.
Are they not going to be found here? I was just wondering though. I mean, it looks like they don't associate that. So you and I would do Chief Financial Officer or CFO, because I'm just not seeing any CFOs there. I thought maybe that would do a little bit of if this then that sort of.
Yeah, the more broad match targeting. I feel like this is new. Company headquarters.
That is,
I do not recall seeing that before. I was just
wow.
do we
just
do with
noticed
that?
that a couple minutes ago. Man.
Company headquarters.
I think you should figure that out for us, Isaac, and find a way that
Well-
we use it or don't.
Well, here I just figured it out. So your associated company page, whatever the zip code is on there, that's the company headquarters. It's got to be,
Wow, that's pretty cool.
or not necessarily the zip code, but whatever information is there. I don't think I would use this right now though, because so many companies just put United States. Like there are a lot of
Yeah.
companies that set up a company page a long time ago and they don't have the state and they never added the zip. They just did United States. And if you choose something really specific, they might be there, but you would not include them because they just have, I'm in the United States and there's no other data points on them.
So it's giving
So-
you all of those counties, the list there. Just go back to that. Look at all those counties that are showing up above that. Whoops. click that thing again. See them all in blue there? Yeah, look at all those. Wow. Those are
Yeah, those-
those are in California, so it's assuming you're targeting California because all of those are, they look like south as far as I can tell, Southern California. Wow, that's bizarre.
I think those are
But-
counties that touch Orange County within X number of miles. That's what it
That's pretty
looks like.
cool. Huh. So if it's Len, if it's Manhattan, it could say, you know, by the areas of Manhattan, you know, Tribeca, Phi Upper West Side.
Right.
I don't know if it would get that granular, but
Why don't we try
definitely.
that? Why don't we try and see what we can do here, Isaac? See if you can do anything with what we talked about with New York, and if there's
in
anything.
New York, take
Because the language, you know, if you're not from New York City, you're not going to know the language, but you have Upper West Side, Upper East Side, you have, depending on where you are, that touches the periphery around Central Park.
New York. Yeah, put in New York City Metro. First,
Yeah, you know.
put New York City Metro. New York City Metro. I just saw it there. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. Okay, so now
yeah.
let's see if it's going to offer. Now click on. Okay, that's weird.
Huh.
I think it's because we did county. What's your county, Judy?
Well, say Kings County because that's Brooklyn. So say Kings
what?
County.
Right.
Or Manhattan is New York County, right?
Yes.
County. Okay, so Kings County, New York. Okay, so click that. Okay, so now here we go. Okay, so it's going Union, Richmond, Bronx, Nassau. Okay, so these are all the perimeter counties.
Yeah.
Hudson is upstate. It's Westchester. I'm in Nassau to answer your question.
I kind of wonder if it's,
Wow.
I don't know if they're, and I don't know if that it matters really, but I don't know if these are recommended because they're nearby or if it's because there's more people there.
No, it's nearby. Those are all like, if you draw a
Oh, yeah,
circle
those-
around Kings County is
however.
Brooklyn. So if you draw a circle around like a proximity, say, I don't know what the default is, 5 miles, 10 miles. Because all of those are pretty much, yeah, wow. Wow, that's pretty interesting.
My second cousin a couple of years ago moved to a section in Brooklyn, and I couldn't believe the name. He said, "Oh, we now live in this condo, really fancy condo in Dumbo." I said, "Dumbo, what? Like, what is that?" He says, "It's in Brooklyn. Don't you know where Dumbo is?" I said, "No." I said, "I grew up in Canarsie." I said, "In Brooklyn, but what the hell is? Where is Dumbo?" I think it's the Brooklyn Promenade or somewhere in that area. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, Dumbo. I don't know. Wow.
Well, this is interesting too, to see who lives in the hometown. If that's matters for targeting as well, you know, these individuals are in financial in Kings County. These individuals are in financial and the company headquarters is there.
Well, you also have a lot of people working
Look at-
remote now. I think that
Right.
is going to change the landscape, physical or otherwise, of
Mm-hmm.
company headquarters search versus where they are, because you could even have the C-suite guys or gals that
Look at that.
that
San
just
Francisco.
they're working from home.
So Jonathan lives in San Francisco and his company HQ is in New York.
Wow.
Yeah, that is interesting. I've never really ever dug around with that because it's the first time I've seen it before.
Well, that happens a lot with a VP of sales or an executive VP of sales, senior VP of sales, where those individuals, since, pre-COVID, you would fly around so much that maybe those folks didn't have to reside in the company headquarters. They could live anywhere because they're constantly flying every week. Now it's probably different. So I don't know.
Yeah, that is really interesting. You could do just thought popped in my mind too. If you're thinking about, I don't know, like where to, like what region, if you've got a new product to go to market, maybe you want to test it in one place versus the other. That could be another application here as well, right? Where if maybe you need to build a physical store, maybe, I don't know.
Oops, I'm sorry, I
if
gotta run. Sorry, guys. Oops.
Yep. See ya.
Thank
All
you.
right, see you, Judy.
Bye, Judy.
Yep. See ya. it could be helpful. And again, you could do this. I'm not sure if Google Sheets lets you do by zip code or not. I really don't know.
Hmm.
But you could pull in the information and say, all right, where should this product go to market? And not Minnesota. Maybe, you know, do all kinds of fun stuff. The main point is you can use LinkedIn for getting the initial numbers here and then make smart decisions.